Welcome back. In this video, we have Giuseppe Contugno from Ocado Technology. He's a team leader at Ocado Technology. And Giuseppe today will talk a little bit about his background, why he chose a career robotics, and also give you some career advice. Giuseppe, thank you very much for being here. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Hello, I'm Dr. Giuseppe Cotugno. I'm team leader at Ocado Technology. I am Italian. I was born in Cosenza, south of Italy, which is one of the privileged area in Italy. I pursue a bachelor degree in computer engineering at University of Calabria, locally where I was born. Then I moved on to Rome to pursue a 2 years master program in AI and robotics. After that, I had a period where I was doing some research internships, and then I started a PhD in King's College London. Halfway through my PhD, I ran out of funding, and I had to join Buller UK to work as an embedded software engineer to support my studies. After that, I got a job as a research robotics engineer at Ocado Technology, and over time I became robotics team leader, and now I oversee the development of a number of robots, a number of projects that my employer is selling worldwide to different retail customers.
What inspired you to get into AI and robotics, Giuseppe?
So what inspired me to be into AI and robotics is that I had a vision of a world where people will be more free to take time to do activities that they like doing, like that they would be able to do activities that they leverage more on their human side, something like arts, literature, or maybe more time for yourself. Like, so I had the vision of a society where repetitive, boring, and heavy labor-intensive tasks would be not a problem for humans anymore, so that they could focus on activities that they would be leveraging more their human side. So I had this dream, I had this vision where I was a high school student, and I really wanted to make it real. The problem is, how do you release people from manual work and repetitive tasks? You need something else that does it for you. You need an autonomous robot. So I wanted to play my little part into this big dream of making sure that people are doing jobs that are closer to what a human can do better.
Okay, that's great. For the next question, Giuseppe, I would like to ask, what advice would you give to students to help them get started in a career in robotics?
So if you want to become a robotic engineer, so a person that develops and builds the robot, regardless of whether you want to go on a research path or on a production path, the beginning is similar. The starting point is similar. Robotics is effectively the interplay of different aspects. You have mechanics, you have electronics, you have control, the ability of moving mechanical part, software, and more recently you also have machine learning. Those are all different aspects, and you can join robotics from any aspect that you like, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. Anyway, once you get a job in robotics, it's very likely that you will end up knowing how the rest of the system works, because robots are a mechatronic system. It's a mix of electronics, mechanics, and software. So even if, let's say, you are very skilled on software only, you will end up knowing a little bit of everything else, because as I mentioned before, a robot works well if every aspect works coherently and in harmony with each other. So if you want to become a robotics engineer, you need to pick a robotic research engineer. You need to pick a subject that gives you the foundations of running experiments and doing data analysis. If instead you want to be a robotic software engineer, so a person that transform a prototype into a commercial system, then you will need to have experience in writing quality code that can complement your robotics background. As such, I want to call out that Ocado is planning to launch apprenticeships in UK, which is a way to support students with any STEAM background to gain robotics knowledge, which allow them to succeed. This basically means that training on the job is integrated with university studies, and this will prepare you for advanced work that you will do in industry, right? Because you can study and practice at the same time within your employer in industry. I also recommend you to consider extracurricular activities like hackathons, maybe internships, robot competitions, absolutely anything that makes you different. And most of all, I recommend you to be a good listener, motivated and willing to learn, because this is what we look at junior graduates when we hire them. Like, will they be able to pick up quickly? Will they be able to learn? This is a key skills for the beginning of your career. You could also practice programming on your own. Ocado, for example, has an open source project called Code for Life, where there are 2 different programming platforms targeted at high school students and primary school students. They are freely available and they can be useful to practice your software development skills. If you don't want to pursue university studies, you can still get close to robotics in other ways. You could become a robotic lab technician, which is the person that effectively prepares the setups so that we can run experiments or mimics a setup that is in production so we can test and verify our software. Or you could become someone who overlooks operation, which is a person that sits in our warehouses and basically checks whether the robots are running smoothly, whether they're doing what they're expected to do, and if there is any problem. And they track issues and they react on the go. Another things that I want to recommend is like keep an eye, because there might be future jobs of the future coming up. For example, you could become a recovery pilot. A recovery pilot is a person which teleoperates a robot which is in distress, a robot that is doing something and doesn't know how to come out of a problem. This is a recovery pilot. And also you could look and see to become what I call a robot teacher, which is a person that curates the data collection robot, is effectively a person that generates data so that AI can then learn from it. So this is a job of the futures. It's something that I expect will come up very soon.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for sharing this advice with students. Finally, very briefly, if we could touch on what do you think the future holds for robotics, Giuseppe?
So I think the present days are exciting days to be in robotics, to be honest. Robots are coming out of university labs and are finding places where they could be most useful. We still have to find areas where robots are best suited. We do know that areas like logistics, which is effectively what Ocado does, are interesting areas for robots to be. And there are also autonomous cars, which are good examples, but I'm sure there will be more application for robots. What I think is that any new problem which has as I call it, any problem that is partially structured, which basically means is a problem that is not too prescribed, like you see in traditional robotic in industry, but is not too variable, as you will see sometimes in academia, like robots working in a household, right? If a robot works in a household, there is a lot of variability, a lot of things changing. So something that is in between, that is not too challenging, too variable, and is not too prescribed. These are all areas where robots will be useful in my point of view. So I soon expect to see robotics extend beyond the boundary of businesses and become more common between consumers and the wider society, in a similar way to what happened in the late 70s with the advent of so-called microcomputers. The key innovation there was the invention of microprocessors, because a computer at the end of the day needs to do calculations, and a microprocessor does calculations very well. Once we got that technology, computers exploded and were everywhere. And I would expect to see something similar happening very soon in robotics. And this technology should be able to address the problem of humanoid grasping and manipulation. We don't need to solve the whole problem. We need to solve it just enough so that robots have a way to interact with the environment we want them to live in and to do them just what we need them to do. Once we get this achievement, then the field will explode. And you need to think that grasping for robots is difficult, because for humans it's trivial. You just reach something and you get it. Robots have a lot of of variability. They need to find out where the object is, how it looks like, how to grasp it, how to move the fingers, how to do everything without breaking anything. And I'm proud to say that at Ocado Technology, we are at the forefront of innovating in this aspect. And we are able to grasp and pack already thousands of different grocery items without any prior knowledge of them in a fairly high variability scenario. We are laying the foundations of or that will bring robotics to the next level. So as such, any technology that revolves around humanoid grasping makes me excited. Whether it's a machine learning method, a new sensor, a robot hand, this is the problem that needs solving.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe, for your time. This is the end of this video. Again, there is a longer discussion with Giuseppe about different things and exciting things about robotics, so please do make sure to check that step as well. Thank you.
Thank you.